Welcome to this Grandma's Life podcast. I'm your host, theciaellis. Get ready to laugh, learn, and grow with me as we explore growing old in an ever-changing world. One of the good things about growing old is people judge you less when you sometimes say outrageous things. I'm getting older, and I've had a fascinating life. I also have opinions. You may not agree with these opinions, and I may not care. Even now, I am passionate about many things. I love to learn. I love quotes. I love my animals on the farm, and I care about my country. Join me as we explore loving life even as we age. Today is December 2nd, 2024, and this is episode 68, and it's entitled 320,000. This might be a difficult one for some people to listen to because it is dealing with the children that are missing, the number of children that are missing since coming across the southern border. And so I just want to warn you of that in advance. And I just made an executive decision a few minutes ago that I normally do this video or this podcast as a video and an audio. I can't get the glare off my glasses. I can't get my lighting right, and I think I'm just going for the time being. I'm going to do audio only for this podcast, so you can find me on all the podcatchers. First of all, we've got farm happenings. Oh man, guys, we got a break from the rain finally. Last time I told you we got, I don't know, like 17, 19 inches of rain. It was a lot of rain, but for the month of November, we only got no, that's not right. Okay, let me rephrase that. We finally got a break in the rain, but it was after 19 inches of rain. Sorry, my brain is dying, I guess. So, but I'm glad we got a break, but my husband had to work on the driveway a lot to keep the gravel on it, and he was putting rocks down and everything, and it's still rough, but it looks at least we can get up and down the hill to our property. We had our anniversary in November, and to celebrate it, we went to Copan. We went to a thing called Copan Garage, and I guess it's like some country singer, and I don't do country music, so I don't know who it was, but they were having a barbecue, and it was a chance for Tom and myself to go out and have spend some time together. And honestly, it was pretty cool. It was cold because it was outside, but they had live bands and really good pulled pork and all the fixings and stuff with it, and it was really good. We may try to go back next year and bring chairs and know what we're getting into and stuff too, but it was really neat. There was a lot of people there, and it was kind of a nice way to celebrate our anniversary. We now have a kitten called Smokey, and that's kind of an interesting thing. Kinsey is helping be a manager at basketball games, especially for the boys teams. The coach doesn't have an assistant coach, and so she doesn't do any assistant coaching, but she does pretty much everything else. And she does, as she's doing that, she would come home. Well, she was at the basketball gym out in the parking lot one evening. She called me. She goes, "Grandma, I've got a problem." I said, "What's the matter?" She goes, "Well, there's a kitten here," or she called it a cat. She goes, "There's a cat keeps jumping in my car, and I keep throwing it out, and it keeps jumping in, and it even gets in the way of the door where I can't even close it, and and it's sitting in my lap, and it's all comfortable." I said, "Okay." And we live on the middle of a 40-acre field, and our cat Mopard, that was our barn cat for 2 or 3 years. He was a good cat. He disappeared. And so we've had an overrun of mice and voles and stuff again. So we let her bring the kitten home. And the first few days, it was making me crazy because, the animals got to learn the rules of the house, and you're the one that has to teach them and everything. But as a general rule, he's actually turned into a pretty good little cat. He's still a kitten, though. He's little bitty. I think he weighed like 2 pounds or something when he first, because he was skinny. And he weighed like 2 pounds when we first brought him home, but now he's over 5 pounds just in the last less than a month, so he's happy. But we haven't seen him catch any mice yet, but he's interested. But I think if nothing else, he's keeping the mice scared away, and that's helping too. But yep, he's a pretty little gray cat, and he rules the roost, I guess. The dogs kind of give him a little clearance most of the time. I don't know, they're getting to where they can kind of be together a little bit too, so it's working out. Kinsey drove to Northern Arkansas College in Harrison, Arkansas a couple of weeks ago to check it out, and it looks like she may be signing on, having a signing day with them here anytime. I don't know. She's having, they're getting the logistics worked out on it. She liked the softball team. She liked the softball coach. And I'll be perfectly honest, it's not where Tom and I wanted her to go, but it's not our life. And so we'll have to deal with what she wants to do. And I'm sure she'll be happy. She's going to be about 3.5 hours away from us. And that's our biggest thing, because we adored this child. And having her, oh my gosh, I'm already getting emotional just thinking about it. But, and then, golly, she's got a few months here left, so get over it, they said. But we're going to miss her. 3.5 hours away is a long way for me, but you know what? She's grown, and I need to get over it. I guess there's a whole bunch. I go to gym. There's a 9 o'clock class, and there's a lot of the same ladies do the classes at 9 o'clock. So and these ladies are fun, and we have a good time. But apparently, a bunch of them have birthdays in November, and so because they were having so many birthday Novembers, we decided to go to the Pink House. Was it called the Pink House? I think it's called the Pink House there in Claremore. It's a little tea room type thing, and celebrate everybody's birthdays. And we had a wonderful, nice little, it's kind of an upscale place, and it's in a really nice historic building. It is, they put the restaurant on the ground floor, and it's a 3-story basically mansion. And there, of course, there's a history to it. And from early on I think the house was built in like 1908, 1909, something along that line. So it was built about the time that Oklahoma became a state. And they've kept it up over the years, and now there's a restaurant. So it's kind of upscale. But you know, I forgot to change out of my house shoe Crocs, and so here I am going into this upscale, you know, restaurant with really stained up Crocs. I was kind of self-conscious about it, but the good news is your feet are underneath the table, and that's the way it goes. Tom got a deer during muzzleloading season, and I saved the bones, and I canned up 7 quarts of venison broth, and that's going to be good. That because we don't do a lot of beef here. We do than we used to, because I used to be really allergic to it, but beef is way outside of our budget in the vast majority of the time. So if we can get venison, that's great. So I've got venison broth, and that's going to help us get through the winter for soups and stuff, and I'm looking forward to that. My youngest granddaughter is named Ivy, and she's the sweetest child, and she turned 3 just a couple weeks ago, and we got to have her 3rd birthday over at her mom and dad's house, and it was really neat. So like I said, that's my 3rd grandchild. I've got Joseph, he's in his 20s, and I've got Kinsey, who's now 18, and then we got Ivy, who's 3. But on Ivy's mother's side of the family, this is the only grandbaby. So I showed up with a gift. Well, I always have to ask Ivy's mother what I'm looking for suggestions, and she'll send me a link to what I should order to bring the baby for whatever gift, you know. But her mother, Ivy's other grandmother, man, she bought all kinds of stuff, because that is her only granddaughter, and it may end up being her only granddaughter too, because I think that was her only daughter, and that's the only child that Kayla can have, and they may adopt down the road, but right now Ivy's it, and Ivy is the center of grandma's attention. So it's fun. We had a good time. That is she's smart. She can talk, you know, she uses good words because her parents don't baby talk her and stuff. And she's well mannered, you know, she has a good disposition, and yeah, I know I'm a grandma, but still she's just a really sweet baby, and we enjoy being around her. What I'm listening to is A Gap in the Game by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Okay, you know what? I just finished the first listening to it, and I'm going to listen to it again. This is probably one of the best what I call good for me books, but I guess it's a self-help book or something like that. It's probably the best one I've listened to in a very long time. It was very helpful. Had a lot of, in fact, I am probably going to get a copy of it and send it to and give it to Kinsey so she can listen to it. And that's how good it is. The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And the other one I'm listening to is Heretics of Dune by Frank Herbert. That's part of the Dune series. What I'm reading, I'm still working on How to Develop a Powerful Prayer Life by Dr. Gregory Frizzell. I've just started on one. I only want to do one fiction and one nonfiction book, but I heard about this one on I think it's from one of the ladies who was commenting on Amy Dingman's A Farmer's Kind of Life thing, and she was talking about a book called Spuds, Spam, and Eating for Victory, Rationing in the Second World War by Catherine Knight. And now this was written in Europe. So this book is she's talking about the different thing. I'm just getting started in it, but regardless, they talked about the rationing and things like that where during the Second World War. And she talked a little bit about what they had to go through for the First World War that facilitated what they would do to get people through the Second World War. But like I said, it's in Europe, so it's in pounds and I don't know, all the different stuff. And I would gloss over that, but the rationing and the type of foods they eat and stuff like that, I found very interesting, and I'm kind of enjoying reading it. I just finished reading The Cry of the Ice Mark by Stuart Hill. And because we have the clothing ministry and stuff, or sometimes I'll go to a thrift store or something, I'll pick up a book and I'll go, oh, that's not usually a book I read, but I'll try it out. And this one's definitely not in a genre that I usually read, but I have to admit, I really liked it. And I was even looking to see, he has two more for sure after that, but I'll have to see if I get into, because one of them's like, the second one's like $25. So, I paid $2 for my copy of the first book. So I don't know. I'll have to wait and see if it comes out, if I can find it somewhere else for like $2 or something. I'm going back to my quote of the week. I love doing my quotes. As you know, I do. Hey, I try to do daily a quote and a scripture, and I put on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and all that. But what I was kind of missing is not only so what I'm going to do is, of those quotes I've done since the last podcast, I will get the one that I like the most and read it to you. But I was trying to figure out who had said this. This is for a quote by Bernard Edmonds. And I couldn't find any information about the man who had seen it. There were several Bernard Edmonds, of course, but I didn't know which one is the one who actually said this quote. So I can't give you any information on him. But that is what I'm going to start doing again. I'm going to start looking to my quotes and give you a quote and then give you a little bit about the author who had said it. So Bernard Edmonds says, to dream anything that you want to dream, that is the beauty of the human mind. To do anything that you want to do, that is the strength of the human will. To trust yourself, to test your limits, that is the courage to succeed. And that was my favorite quote since our last podcast. Okay. And our main subject is 320,000. And the number keeps going up. I think I'd heard about it when it was like 300,000, but then when it started getting up to 320,000, these are the number of children that have disappeared since they've come over from the southern border. And I'm not going to lie, it breaks my heart. It really does break my heart. It's one thing for these illegal immigrants, and yeah, I'm going to say that. I'm sorry. They're illegal. They know they're illegal, and they're coming into our country illegally and doing illegal things. But they're sending children, little children, across the border with no parent with them, to be with just nothing but a phone number, so that somebody can claim them. And they don't even have to be family. They just can claim to be family. They don't do DNA testing or anything like that. They just say, yep, that's my kid, and I'm coming to get him. So this podcast is going to be a rough one, I think. But I'm going to do a little bit. I did a little bit of research, and so I'm going to read you what I'd written or what I had researched. This is from Melissa Golden of AP Fact Check, October 2024. And she says, the facts. This claim misrepresents information in an August report published by the Department of Homeland Security's Office of the Inspector General, which faulted Immigration and Customs Enforcement for failing to consistently monitor the location and status of unaccompanied migrant children once they are released from federal government custody. So she basically saying, yeah, there's some children coming over, but they're saying that maybe it's not that many, and they think they do know where they are. Jonathan Beer says this is not a missing kids problem, it's a missing paperwork problem. Jonathan Beer, Associate Director of Research and Evaluation for the Acacia Center for Justice's Unaccompanied Children Program. That's what he wrote in an email. So he's saying that the children are not missing, they're missing the paperwork on all these children. Dale Wilcox of the Washington Times in September 2024. Shortly after President Biden took office, he exempted unaccompanied children from enforcement action when it came to the use of Title 42 at the border. When the administration issued an executive order earlier this year to supposedly crack down on illegal immigration, unaccompanied children were once again exempted from enforcement. This might sound good on paper, but in practice, it serves to reward human trafficking. And of course, as you can tell, that's more what I'm kind of leaning toward believing. Nicole Ellis and Casey, Kuhn, Kuhn of PBS in January 2023. I wanted to know what Title 42 was. I wasn't sure. It says Title 42 was created to address public health and social welfare and grants the government the ability to take emergency action in numerous ways, including to, quote, stop the introduction of communicable diseases, unquote. While the code has been in place for decades, it was used widely beginning in March 2020 by the administration of then President Donald Trump in order to regulate border crossings under the premise of increased COVID-19 precautions. Rebecca Santana of AP News in April of 2024. Children traveling alone must be turned over within 72 hours to the U.S. Health and Human Services Department. That agency generally releases them to family or sponsors in the United States while an immigration judge considers asylum. Asylum-seeking families are typically released in the U.S. while their cases wind through the courts. And then John Davis from the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. It's a situation Border Patrol agent Herman Rivera faced too far often. Oh, this is a story here. An adult illegal alien approached him with a child in tow seeking asylum in the United States. And Rivera is quoted as saying, he initially stated that the child was his kid, but after carefully checking his documents and pressing the issue, the man admitted the truth. I'm not sure whose child this is. Rivera said the man told Border Patrol agents when he finally revealed the truth. So this man had a child with him, and he didn't even know who it belonged to. He was just a coyote. He was just a trafficker. It's something that has happened thousands of times in the past year. In fact, Border Patrol agents identified more than 6,200 fraudulent family members in fiscal year 2019, which runs from October 1, 2018 through September 30, 2019. This is at the time when Border Patrol agents apprehended over 473,000 people who presented themselves as a family unit. The reason so many are making this perilous journey through Mexico with a child, whether it's a fraudulent family or a biological parent or legal guardian, is obvious. Many before them were allowed to stay in the United States, despite their illegal entry across the border. In recent past, CBP could hold most of families just a few days before releasing them into the U.S. or transferring them to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, who, by a 2015 court order, had to release families into the United States within 20 days. The result was that these families were able to remain in the U.S. often indefinitely. Now, Dr. Phil, I don't know when because I didn't watch it. I had just heard about it from several different sources. Did an interview stating that the Border Patrol agents know that the children that come across the border are unaccompanied will, in all likelihood, be trafficked either for drugs or sex. The officers call the number the child presents, and the person on the other end claims that the child is theirs. Yet, if someone was to look into it, the number might be retraced to someplace like a strip club. And think about that. I don't want that to just slide by. These children are coming across the border with nothing but a phone number. The Border Patrol agent calls the number, and somebody will come in and claim this child. And if you trace a number back, it might be drug dealers, it could be anybody, but it also could be a strip club. I watched a segment on Fox News on November 25th, and children as young as 2 years old are answering questions of the reporter. And I don't know if y'all have seen it. It's kind of gone viral lately too. This reporter is talking to a little child, and she is telling him that she's only 2 years old and she's by herself and she's looking for her parents that are somewhere in the United States. And none of these children are accompanied by parents. Where are the parents? The little 2-year-old says their parents are in the United States. Well, if that's the case, how do they get separated? I haven't looked into that. I don't understand how these children. Now, some of them are saying that like they're in Mexico. So I don't think the baby thinks that she's looking for her parents in the United States, but I think her parents are still in Mexico, and they basically believed a trafficker or a coyote into saying, oh yes, I'll give them a better life in the United States. And they turned their children over to these people. And I don't, how could you as a parent even believe that no matter what? But I believe that's kind of what's kind of happening there. But the littlest girl claims their parents from the United States. And where are the parents really? How did it come to be that these underage children are being forced to travel without their parents to an unknown country and into the hands of sex traffickers, drug dealers, and slave laborers? Now, this one's a rough one for me. There are rape trees along the route. Women and children are raped as payment to continue their travels to the United States. Clothing, including underwear, ropes, blood, and other evidence are found all around these trees, painting a graphic picture of what occurs. I listened to a podcast where 2 women who are working on the ground to find these children tell tales of not only what they have seen and experienced, but retold stories of the people working at the border. One ICE agent told of being in a specific area when his foot went through the ground. He pushed back the dirt to learn that a young child had been buried in a shallow grave. He looked around to realize that there were several lumps in this area, all shallow graves. One woman that they were working with somewhere in Colorado, she was forced to watch 2 of her children be sacrificed in satanic rituals. And this is in California. She had to watch her children be sacrificed, killed for a satanic ritual. There are stories that some women near the border are being bred on purpose and then forced to go undergo an abortion so the fetuses can be used. According to Andrea Bynes of the Human Life International, fetal tissue, because I had want to know why did people, it's one thing when you watch it on the television and these people go, my body, but why did people want them to have these abortions? And they are using these unborn babies for different things, and that's what I'm going to get into now. I'm telling you, I'm sorry, this was a rough one. According to Andrea Bynes of Human Life International, fetal tissue is used for some well-known medications. PSP, that is processed skin proteins, is used for regenerating traumatized skin medically and in some anti-aging cosmetics. Some vaccines and medicines contain tissues from an unborn child. I am not claiming that these companies are accessing fetal material illegally, but someone is. All of this is atrocious and heartbreaking in any country, but this is happening in our own country. As of the latest count, 320,000 children are unaccounted for. And why are we just now learning about these children? Why has someone not spoken up before? One of the women who was in the podcast interview found out that the government actually knew about this trafficking and tried to report it. Her badge was taken from her, and she was escorted by officials off the property. How many people know about this and either turn a blind eye or actually cover up what is happening? Now, I understand that Trump was elected and has claimed to put a stop to all of this. For some reason, several cities are vowing to block his way. Why? How could anyone, Democrat or Republican, condone these atrocious acts of violence? Do some people hate Trump so much that a few unaccompanied children are just fodder to be sacrificed for their cause? What can we do about this? I only have two answers to this. Speak up and pray. Let people know that this is happening in our own country. Even if these people don't believe you, if this information is repeated enough, there will be those who will believe and also may even have the means to put this to an end. I encourage you to pray. Pray for these poor babies who are traveling without their parents. Okay. My question of the day is, do you have any suggestions to help these poor children that are being sacrificed by coming through our southern border illegally? Give me an email at theciaellis@gmail.com. I want to talk to you about the fold card now that the rough stuff is over. I have a fold card. This is a card that is a prepaid debit card, and I like it. I have to admit, I really like it. I set aside a certain amount of money each payday, and I put it onto this prepaid fold cards, and I use it for buying feed for the animals. Use it for picking little things up at the grocery store between paydays, and putting fuel in the car and stuff like that. And every time, and there's a lot more you can do with it. They have a lot of incentives for you to use it for buying gift cards for Amazon. And I don't know, there's all kinds of things you can do, but I'm not a big spender on a bunch of stuff. So I do what I do. And the fold card is a really good thing. And I'll be perfectly honest, over a year or so, just using the prepaid fold card, you earn what they call Satoshis, which are like mini pieces of Bitcoin. And over a year or so, I was in US dollars. I was able to accumulate extra $500 and in US dollars. And so, and without me spending anything extra, just what I'm buying on a regular basis. So if you want to start, and it's up now, it's, that's something else I like about this fold card too. You are getting Satoshis, you are getting some Bitcoin, but you're not actually investing in Bitcoin. So, because right now is not a good time to buy it because it's high, but it's a good time to use it. So use my link below on the fold card and sign up and start collecting your own Satoshis. It's really a pretty cool deal. I would appreciate if you start telling other people about this podcast. Like I said, I think from here on out, it's going to be audio only. And there are going to be times that I can think of that I might want to put it on video. But right now, it's just audio only. And you can listen to it. I'd ask for a 5-star review. I have done a Grandma's Homestead Facebook page, and I try to put some little clips on there about what's going on the farm on a regular basis. And it's called Grandma's Homestead on the Facebook. But I'm also grandmashomestead.farm is my website. Grandma's Homestead YouTube channel, Farm Animal Life YouTube channel, Kinsey Lackey Sports YouTube channel. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and regular Facebook, X, and Rumble under some version of theciae or theciaellis. All right, guys, I'm sorry this was a rough one, but I just, it was in my heart. I had to say something because I specifically looked up articles and stuff so that you couldn't just say, oh, well, she's just popping off her head because it's something that is important to her. I wanted to be able to have some sort of evidence that indicating that this is something that's real. This is something that we need to pay attention to and put a stop to. All right, guys, that's all I got for you this time. God bless. I'll see you next time.